Frank, when it comes to the Nets, after watching last night's game, I called the series at halftime. I mean, it's just, like it just looks like the Celtics. Like Jay was joking, we were on the text chain last night. It was again 3-2-1 Cancun, right? Like that's really where we were at on the Celtics side of things. But not to take away from the Nets, it's just Boston isn't putting up much of a resistance. But I've watched the Nets in those first two games. Now that we've seen these three guys together on the court, which we didn't get a lot of that during the regular season. And it convinced me enough to think there's no one in the East that has enough to not only stop them, but even just keep up with them offensively. They just seem like they've got too much, and they don't need a lot of time to have chemistry. Am I out of my mind to think that I'm not saying faux, but it might be 5-5-5.
Yeah, I know. And I think the whole chemistry thing was a little overrated. Great players figure it out somehow. If you go to the regular season, the Nets blew out Boston in 2 games. And then the one game that was close, Harden didn't play, Kevin Durant didn't play, and Kyrie Irving went 4 for 19, and the Nets still won the game.
Mm-hmm.
Offensively, they're so good. And last night, Joe Harris scored 16 points in the first quarter, so it's almost unfair. But, if you have those 3 guys on the court, now Joe Harris can't miss a shot. And what you love about the Nets, and I think the 3 of them understand that there's really only one result that's going to satisfy everyone, including themselves, is winning a championship. Right. And they've all been incredibly unselfish. And I know Kyrie's had his moments this year off the court, but on the court, Kyrie has played really well. And when he's defended really well. And James Harden was playing like an MVP before he got hurt. And then you have Kevin Durant, who, I watch him play, and he's now, I think, played 37 games in a net uniform. And the guy, we all know this, but when you see it, night in and night out, the guy never makes a bad play. He plays hard. He takes great shots. He's unselfish. He's a good teammate. He defends. He rebounds. He is the very definition of a superstar. And you know that this is special to him. I was up in Toronto that night when he blew out his Achilles. It was brutal to see a great, great player like that go down. So he had, so when he played the other night, that was almost his first playoff game in 2 years. And let's remember, guys, when he was healthy and going to the finals, he won 2 championships and he was the finals MVP. Mm-hmm. So this guy, it's just a different level superstar. Kind of getting back to what you guys said about Kawhi. I think Kawhi is great. I just look at Kevin Durant. It's just a different level superstar. He's so big. He's so difficult to defend. He's built for moments like this, and he's been terrific in the first 2 games.
Yeah, and he's surrounded by 2 guys that are going to facilitate and Harden as well. But that supporting cast doesn't get enough credit. You mentioned Harris. I mean, a lot of those guys. Blake Griffin, coming up big, and Jeff Green. Landry Shamet was all over the place, drawing fouls. Like they have themselves. It's not just 3 guys to lead them. Their supporting cast, which the Clippers certainly can't say that. Frank, I know you got your show. Thanks so much for the time. Good to chat with you.
Thanks, Frank.
Keep up the good work, guys. Take care.
All right, Frank Isola on the Goodyear Hotline, brought to you by Goodyear, helping you discover the road ahead. Goodyear, more driven. Just what he's mentioning there, though, about the Nets, I think is Joe Harris going to make a game-winning shot in the playoffs at some point.
Oh, yeah. I think you're wrong, though. I think you're wrong about it's going to be a cakewalk for the Nets.
When I say cakewalk,
I know, but you said 4-4-4, joking around, maybe 4-5-4. I'm just trying to tell you, Milwaukee's going to be those 2 teams offensively in the way they also defend. And if you watch the game last night, the intensity defensively picked up for Brooklyn a ton.
Yes,
I've never seen Brooklyn play that hard defensively. That game, that series, if it gets there, Milwaukee and Brooklyn, is going to be like an Eastern Conference Finals sense of urgency for those 2 teams.
For the second round, yeah.
That can go 6 or 7, man, because Giannis will take on the responsibility of trying to guard KD. And there are pieces that Drew Holiday on Kyrie or James, like there are good matchups there.
But you just see, again, that's the part I think. Key, I feel like Milwaukee has 2 guys, but they don't have the third. I know Chris Middleton is a great offensive player, but he's not the defender that you need, because if you're going to put Drew Holiday on Kyrie, well, who's going to guard James?
And then if you go Drew Holiday on James, who's going to guard Kyrie? If you cancel out KD and Giannis, I know that because Giannis is big, I don't know, man. Watching Brooklyn last night,
yeah, right?
Yeah,
they had that look.
I'm not saying something about.
Yeah.
It's just something about no matter who you put on Kyrie right now. I told Jay this. I like him.
I'm glad you're coming over to that side.
But I ain't never not liked him.
I know, but a lot.
But
seeing it,
I have always liked him. But sometimes it takes me to sit down and just watch without any interruptions or anything, and I was able to sit and just watch him without anything and say to myself,
He's good.
pretty damn good.
When he's
I don't
on
give
his
a damn
toes.
what they say about his head. He pretty good.
Now, speaking of that, though, and we'll get into this a little bit later on the show, he goes to Boston for the first time since he left. And that certainly is going to be a different
for the
scene.
playoffs. For the playoffs, he's been there.
Well,
he went there before with the Sage. And,
yeah, but you know what I mean. Like to be in the playoffs against them, the Celtics aren't putting up resistance, but the crowd in Boston certainly will.